I just want to know, who's your favorite drummer?
Favorite drummer, Dave Grohl is my idol. Made it as a drummer, made it as a guitarist, great songwriter, but his style, like I rip him off.
You do rip him off.
I rip him off.
I just thought of that. Like,
yeah.
That Smells Like Teen Spirit is exactly how you drum.
Mashing, dude. Because that's when I was like a little kid or like 15. I was like, that's what I want to do.
Hey everybody, welcome to Swenson and Bance. I am Trevor Swenson, joined always by my beautiful co-host Adam Bance.
Beautiful?
Yeah, you are gorgeous. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah. This week we are joined by my good buddy Nick Harris. What's going on, man?
What's up, Trevor Swenson? Good to see you in the flesh, dude. I've seen you for a while, man.
Yeah. Motivational speaker and probably one of the best damn drummers I've ever seen live. I hate to admit that, but you are pretty good. So
thank you, Trevor Swenson. I appreciate that, dude.
That's good. Backstory: the man flew all the way from Portland just to be on the show. So
thanks, bro.
We're pretty excited about that.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me. This is dope. Yeah, when you said come on down to LA, I was like, dude, I'll go. See you in 2 hours, dude. That's what's up. Awesome. It was easy too. The airport wasn't that crazy.
Yeah,
I thought it was gonna be crazy, but no one's.
Was your flight full?
No, it was actually pretty empty. But dude, I flew at 6 a.m. You know, I flew from Portland to Seattle here, and it was easy. Like I had space. And
what airline do you fly?
I flew Delta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were they selling the middle seats?
Well, this is the first time I had ever seen this, but it was like the left side was just one row, and the right side was 2 rows.
Cool.
And then so I had no one next to me on either flight, and the second flight was double the 2 rows, and it was just
packed.
No,
was it
legit? I bet you like the 9 o'clock flight probably was, but the 6 a.m. flight was crickets, dude. No one was there.
Cool.
Easy, man.
Yeah, that you're lucky. You're lucky. I flew back from Miami, and that's when Miami was like, oh, it's the new epicenter and shit. And I'm like, yeah, they can't sell the middle seat. I get there, it's like rammed.
Really?
It's like you have to stand 6 feet apart, lining up to get into the plane. But as soon as you're in the plane, COVID's not there. So they're like,
no fresh air.
Sell it all. And I was like, how does this make any fucking sense? Like, you're sitting there going, they're yelling at you 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. We're like, you're going to pack us all in like cattle as soon as we get into the plane. What's the problem if I'm standing 2 feet closer to this person right now? Because I'm going to be sitting on them. And they could even have their head on my shoulder in about 20 minutes.
That's the way it is in the bars and restaurants, though. Once you get to your table, safe zone. Nothing can touch you.
I know.
Yeah.
There's no real like consistency with any of this shit anymore.
It's kind of weird. Like I thought it was interesting that they changed all the verbiage for like the pre-flight and like, you know, seatbelts, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And it's like, if you don't have your mask on, we'll ask you gently to put it back on.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah.
I mean,
I enjoyed the one where it says if you think you won't be able to wear your mask the whole flight, please let a flight attendant know. I'm like, how would I know if I can or cannot wear it the whole flight?
Yeah.
I mean, again, you might have health issues, or you might have whatever. It's just it's crazy.
I fell asleep on the flight back from Nashville last weekend, and I had it like here, but my nose was out, and they woke me up.
Oh yeah,
you're not close enough to the mic. I can't hear you.
Sorry.
Speak into the microphone.
Yeah, they woke me up.
Really?
They were like, can you pull your mask up? And I'm like, all right, I get it. Like, I'm not gonna, but.
Yeah, I get it, dude. The way I play it, like I have this bandana thing too. I just play it safe because you know what? As far as I'm concerned, I know I'm already kind of rough around the edges for people. So,
what do you mean?
I don't know, dude.
A big black guy with dreads?
Yeah,
no way. I'm not rough at all. What are you kidding me?
So the way I look at it though is like if I just soften myself up even more, if I just have like a mask on, like, oh, I want to wear gloves or whatever, like that's the way I play it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like people aren't. Like, I feel like people don't trip. Like,
yeah.
Like, today I said, excuse me to someone at the airport. They're like, oh, excuse me. Like, it wasn't like a...
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't...
Yeah.
It wasn't that big of a thing.
When I got off the plane last time, here at LAX, you have to go and you have to take a bus to the Uber pickup site.
Mm.
And I got on the special bus, and they've now blocked it off so only a certain amount of people can get on the bus.
Okay.
The people next to me that got on, me and April, my girlfriend, were like, okay, cool. You know, these people got in full on like hazmat suits.
We had a couple of those.
I was like,
too,
okay, you know, like each to their own.
Yeah.
But they were traveling with like 8 big bags. I was like,
Interesting.
you don't really pack light, do you? And who does that now?
Those hazmat suits, man. Those guys are definitely hardcore and crazy on that stuff. But enough about the COVID thing. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
What's going on with you, brother? What have you been up to? I haven't seen you in like.
It's been a while.
It's been
man.
a while. So.
Last time we saw you was in Sacramento at the Blue Lamp.
Oh my God, I remember that show.
Yeah, that was cool, man. Thanks for coming out, dude.
Yeah, of course.
No, man, I moved to Portland. Like, our band pretty much all lives up there now, you know. And Kale is down here still, but you know he doesn't tour with us, so it works out okay. And
so for everybody that needs to know this, you are the drummer for the band Armed for Apocalypse.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Fair. Yes.
We gotta make sure everybody in TV land knows what that's all about.
Fair. Awesome. It's Armed for Apocalypse is a metal band. It's heavy. It's pissed heavy, but we're all sweethearts. That's what I like to say because I don't know. Like my favorite compliment about the band is like we'll play or we'll meet people. Say, for example, the sound guy or whatever, and it's like, okay, cool. And then we have these conversations, we build a relationship or whatever, we're the bartender or whatever, and then we play, and it's always like, dude, you guys are completely different people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, that means a lot to me because, you know, we are like the please and thank you crew, you know, but then we're like,
then you rock it.
Bring it, you know?
Oh, yeah, you crush it. You guys do have one of the best covers I've ever heard in my life. I'm not trying to say that your originals aren't good, but your cover of Temptations Wings is like pretty spot on.
That was fair, man. Thank you very much.
You'd almost hear, Temptations Wings from the band Down. It's Down, right?
It's Down, yeah.
No, anyway.
If you heard it, you'd probably recognize it. It's off their first record.
It's
like
Phil Insomno, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I know what we're talking about,
but yeah, man, that was fun. You know, they play that on Liquid Metal still. Like
all the time.
Dude, it's crazy. Like I'll get a text and it's like a screenshot of someone like, dude, you're on Liquid Metal with it's like Temptations Wings every time.
It's because it's probably one of the best covers. I'm not kidding you. Like spot on. Honestly, there's only a little bit of difference with Phil's voice, and it's like this is nuts. I mean, it's really good. So either way, good cover, good originals, good band. So,
thank you, dude. Thank you very much, man.
So what's been going on in the speaking world? So you're tell everybody kind of you're doing the sobriety thing, which congratulations on that.
Thanks,
that's
dude.
awesome.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Time.
Thank you.
Big time.
And you're doing some speaking. I mean, tell us about that. That's cool.
Thank you very much. Yeah, dude, I've been sober since February 12th, 2017. So it's been almost 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Congrats,
Thanks,
man.
man. It's a trip because it's like,
especially being in touring. That's tough.
Dude, Lane Hensley, he's one of my mentors. He said, you know, you're going to the fire, you're not getting burnt. And I didn't really get what he meant. And then he explained to me, he's like, no, dude, like you are in the rock and roll world, and all you do is tour, and your bandmates drink, you tour manage bands that are always drinking, but you never drink and you never smoke. And it's like, it's cool. Like I used to party and I was a good partier, you know, but the bottom line is
you were a good partier.
I was a good partier, dude. I knew how to do it. I'm still like the party captain. Like I want the guys to take beer bongs. Like I want guys party. I'll drive.
Yeah.
You know, but for now it's just not conducive for what I want to do. It's ultimately the day that, like, excuse me, if I have a drink or something, then I can't tell with 100% sincerity to youth, like, or to people, to anyone, that I'm 100% sober and this is how I'm doing it and this is why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm doing it, you know, because it feels good, of course, but at the same time, I ultimately want to be a role model. And what's crazy, and I never really thought about this, but I just recently looked up what that actually means, the word role model. Like, it's based off a character. It's you want to be, or like, for example, if I was going to do like a Shakespeare's play or something like that, you know, you learn how this character acts and then you become and model yourself off that character.
Cool. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, put it in my context. I want to be a musician.
Yep.
I want to live my life making myself happy through playing music and doing what I absolutely love. And then, you know, servicing people through being an agent and helping them do exactly what they want to do and what they love. But I'm going to do it in a way where like I serve and I better the world through it. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
So like that's what I want to do. So that's where it came from. Like I want to live my life of service. I want to give more than I take.
Yeah. Thank you, dogs in the background.
Yes, your doggies are super cool, dude. But yeah, man, like ultimately, I got sober, and then I found myself with all this extra brain space that I was like, dude. So I don't know. It's just one of those situations that I was sober for about 6 months, and then it hit me like I'm still missing something. Like something's missing. Like I feel good. I feel like I have purpose. I feel like I'm doing this right.
But you needed something.
Yeah, something was missing, and I didn't really know what it was. And then my mom, to become sober, I didn't tell anybody. Like one day I was like, okay, I'm just not gonna drink. And it just built from like 3 days to 8 days, and then kind of just kept on going. And then it was like 3 months, and I was living in Spain, and I came back, and my mom's like, hey, I got you this book. And it was a book called The School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. And I was like, she's like, I really think you'll like it. He's a really good dude. He's a motivational speaker. He was a professional athlete, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, cool. This is cool because this is going to be conducive for my lifestyle. And she's like, what do you mean? Well, I'm sober. I haven't drank or anything for 3 months. And she's like, oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's perfect. I just didn't tell anybody. But then I read that book. And in that book, there were so many different things he talked about, he calls it the grounding moment, where it's like you just take a few deep breaths before you do something important, even before you drive or something like that, where you want to focus.
So kind of centering yourself a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like before we did this, it's like I went to the bathroom, but it's like I take some mindful breaths and prepare myself to just show up as myself,
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, I met a fan of our band's at a show, and it was the last show of this tour, and we were talking about books, and he knew who Lewis Howes was. And I was like, "Well, you know who Lewis Howes is?" Like, no one, I just didn't know because he was so new to me. And he's like, "Oh yeah, he's a motivational speaker, and Lewis Howes calls himself a lifestyle entrepreneur."
Okay,
and I was like, "Oh, that's dope. It's dope." He knew him. We talked a little more, and long story short, he was going to Boston, and I'm like, "What are you going to Boston for?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm a motivational speaker." It's like, "What?"
So he was a motivational.
Yeah, my friend
too.
Scott was a motivational speaker, and I'm like, "That's dope, dude!" Like, so you're actually a motivational speaker. That's rad. And I'm like, "Hey, dude, we were talking about books. I'm like, hey, so when I get, because then we went to Europe like a couple of days later, or we went to the UK, and I'm like, hey, so when I get back, I'm gonna hit you up and let's talk about these books, because he had all these books. Like, I want you to read this, and I want you to read that. I get back, and the next day, I'm like, yo, I'm back. Let's kick it, dude, and let's talk about these books. So then we started working out together. So the whole time we started working out together, he was picking my brain.
So you went to Boston, or this guy?
He went to Boston. So
okay.
Scott went and gave a speech in Boston to youth, because he ran Odyssey teams, or Odyssey for youth. And then I went to UK, and we toured, and I came back. And then when I got back, it was like, yo, I'm back. Let's talk about these books, and I want to hear about your motivational speaking. The whole time he had a plan in his mind to bring me on to Odyssey for Youth, and he didn't tell me the plan. He just started picking my brain, and cool. We just started talking, and we worked out. So we'd work out, and we talk. A month goes on roughly, and he's just like, he said something about something. I'm like, dude, I don't have the money to do anything you're talking about. And he's like, well, Harris, what if I could offer you something where you could make money? No, he said, what if I could offer you something where you could serve the world and make money doing it? I was like, what?
Yeah, cool.
That's a possible thing? Like, for me? Like, hell yeah. Come to my office. Go to his office, and he's like, basically pitches me on being a speaker. I'm like, you're crazy. Like, I have nothing to offer the world. Like, what are you talking about? And then he did this whiteboard brain dump. Big ass whiteboard, and he just starts going. So where'd you go to college? What'd you do in college? And it was like, I played rugby at St. Mary's College. How many years? 5 years. So what do you do now? Well, how many tours do you think you've been on? Where have you been? All these places. I mean, he starts writing on the board. And at the end of the day, I'm like, holy shit, dude. I'm like,
well, yeah, you have a hell of a story. I mean, you've been out there.
But I never really realized it was a story or something to offer someone, or that anyone would care. Mm-hmm. Because like, as far as I know, I'm just me doing my thing, like playing rock shows, and he's like, you're doing all this and now you're sober. Like, and he's like, people can resonate with this. So then he started booking me as like a facilitator. Like, he would book us to talk at a retreat, or to lead a retreat for 3 days with high school kids. Mm-hmm. And on that retreat, he would plan it out where in the, like, the run a show, as you guys know all about, like the day she would be like 3 o'clock Nick from 3 to 3:15. And it would just be me, and I would then we came up with what we called them the 4 regrets, which were the 4 regrets that I had being sober. Like, damn, dude, I regret these things. And it was going to college, getting in the same area as college and not caring, just partying.
Yeah.
Not taking advantage of being able to play college football at St. Mary's. Mm-hmm. And then it was not taking advantage of my 6th year to come back and play rugby because I got a gray shirt because my sophomore year I got hurt in football. So I only got to play in like 2 rugby matches. So my coach went to bat for me, got me a 6th year, but I didn't want to go. I just wanted to party because I had already like walked and I had already moved to Chico and I'm like, I can't go back to college, whatever, I just fluffed that whole thing off. And then I moved to Chico to be a rock star. And that's what I did was like everything else but the music part. Yeah. Like I did music, but it was like all about the persona.
Yeah. So out at the bars every night.
Yeah, just bars, the drunkest guys, like, just
doing a Motley Crue style.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one night I saw a Pressure 45 show. That might be dating me, but a Pressure 45 show at Slim's in San Francisco, and I saw Jacoby from Papa Roach, and he was like the drunkest dude. He was like partying, but everyone was like all
he's sober
around.
now too.
Yeah, he's sober now.
I heard that.
Yeah.
That's dope.
It's been a few years. He's because he comes into the bars because I'm in Sacramento and. He'll come into like Ace of Spades or whatever and make an appearance, and he doesn't drink.
Totally
at all.
cool, huh?
Yeah.
Does he live in Sacramento?
Yeah, that's where they're from.
Yeah, I think it's Vacaville. Yeah. But I was I just remember being like, "That's dope," because he was like the center of attention, but he was just wasted and partying, and I was like, "That's the shit." Like that's what I'm.
Yeah, but they were on top of the world, then,
dude.
I mean,
for
that was
sure.
That was like what Last Resort and shit like that.
And that was like 2003. So they were like giant, dude.
They were huge.
Huge. That band was huge, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, long story, that's just what happened. I just wanted to, I basically fluffed off these opportunities. And then that's how I would start this. He's like, he's going to talk to you about the 4 regrets. And I would explain these regrets, why I had these regrets. And then basically, it was like, the point was, I don't want you as youth to have these same regrets. Like, you don't have to go down this road. If you want to do something with your life, you can. And it doesn't have to fit the model.
Yeah.
There is no model. Like what I do with my life now is this. It's not a written script. It's like, I'm going to do this. This is what I believe in. And so can you. So that's the life I want to live. And that's how it got me into speaking. And that's.
Did you ever do AA?
I didn't, dude. I didn't. I have nothing wrong with AA. Not opposed to it, but it was for me, it was like, all right.
Yeah.
I want music to be my life. I'm doing music the least, but I'm always partying, so I wanted to switch it. So I just made a flip.
See, I'm kind of like 50-50 on the AA thing because it's like I fully support people that are sober, like 100%. But AA for me brings it too religious, and I don't think in my personal opinion, I don't think they should be one of the same. Spirituality is completely different than religion. And AA pushes a very religious, not spiritual, but very religious push. Especially, and I had a friend of mine. I actually went sober for 6 months back. Oh God, I can't even remember now. I mean, like we're going probably 10 years. And he was like, "Have you ever tried AA? Read this up." And I was like, "I'm not religious. Like I don't want to sit there and be told something. If I want to go sober, it's going to be on me. I don't want to be following basically the 10 commandments of being sober.
12 commandments.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like a 12-step program.
12-step. 12-step. And that's what I started calling it. It was like the 12 commandments. And I was like, for me, I want to do it for myself rather than... And it just seemed like I was doing it for somebody else. From going through AA, and I wasn't even an alcoholic. I just didn't want to drink anymore. It wasn't. And
weird question. Sorry to interrupt you. Do you get the vegan response? I have always the vegans always give me this one where you walk into a venue and they check your rider and you're like, "Oh no, I don't drink," and then people say, "Oh, I'm sorry." Do they say that to you?
Oh no,
really?
Yeah, no.
Oh, see the vegans.
Sorry.
The vegans like they hate that shit. Like Like when I send out a rider or whatever on a show and there's 3 vegans on there and the promoter walk in and they'll advance like, oh no, I can't have meat, I'm vegan, and then they go, oh, I'm sorry. Like, why are you sorry? I'm vegan. Just give me something that doesn't have any meat in it.
Yeah, no, I haven't really gotten that. I mean, if anything, the only pushback I will ever get is someone that's seen the set or doesn't know us, and they're like, dude, let me buy you guys a round of drinks. You know, so then the way I curbed that was like, oh, dude, I'm driving tonight, dude.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you say I don't drink, then it's why, what, dude, what?
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, I'm driving tonight, dude, I'm driving tonight. People don't question that part.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's out of sight. Okay, cool. They're driving. So here's a shot for you.
Yeah.
Or like on stage, people will buy us a round of shots, and it's like cool. And it's like, oh, dude, thank you so much, dude. Hey, Nate, take this from me. To my throat.
Yeah.
You know?
Shots fuck up my drumming hand.
Honestly, it takes it out of their mind, and they just forget about it.
Yeah. That's cool. That's good
Yeah.
then. That, or you could do the tip trick and say, oh, instead of buying me a shot, just tip us $10. Which is good, man. You know, a little gas money, help it out.
Gas money, doing that always helps. That goes a long way.
Absolutely.
Always,
Absolutely.
dude.
Making good music is hard, but marketing your music shouldn't be. It's simple.
Simple was born out of the idea of wanting to help musicians and industry professionals better navigate the modern music industry.
Whether you're an artist, band, manager, or record owner, Simple has a solution for you.
They offer Facebook and Instagram ads management services, Spotify growth, content marketing consultations, and so much more.
Visit their website at oddlysimple.xyz. That's SIMPL, no E, .xyz.
No we. Go check it out.
Thanks. Hey everybody, it's Trevor and Adam.
We want you to check out Dynamic Talent International, the boutique booking agency with a personal attention to their clients' needs.
From music talent, seminars, podcasts, and YouTube, DTI represents a wide range of incredible clients.
Visit dynamictalentint.com for a full roster list and contact information. Go check it out.
So, Armed is, I mean, they're still a smaller band. There, you guys, you're decent. You do decent over in Europe. You know, in America, they're hashing out, but they're definitely. You guys are always out there pushing the product. It's good stuff, man.
Thanks, man. You know, we had a lot of change. We lost our lead singer. Kale had babies. I moved to Spain.
Hey, what was going on with Spain? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your story.
No worries. It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. I lived in Palma de Mallorca, Spain.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
Do you live in Palma? Or?
Yeah, and we lived right in Palma. Like, it wasn't like downtown, but we were like right.
Did you
in
live
town.
up on the top?
You know where the
the
cathedral is?
Yeah.
You know? Okay,
Yeah,
so
I know.
I lived, like, if this is the cathedral here, like, cross the street and go straight down the alley. I lived in that alley.
Oh shit, you were right.
Like, right by the cathedral.
Yeah.
Like, the cathedral, 2-minute walk
Yeah.
at the most. And I lived with, you guys might know this name, Permanent Mark, tattoo artist. Dude, he's a tattoo artist for years. He's like, he's got more stories than any human being. I love it because he's.
You haven't met Adam.
Well, I heard you guys talking about Cypress Hill on one of the podcasts. I forget who it was with.
I work with Cypress Hill.
Okay, so
I work with their TM. Dan.
Okay, fair. So PM has tattooed one of those guys. So like he would always talk about Cypress Hill, and then he'd always talk about Brad from Rage because he had tattooed him or something like that. I don't know. PM and I own the California Burger Bar, and it was like a gourmet burger joint, like take Hard Rock, but with like a badass Argentinian chef that just made this like dope meat, dude. It was like
in Spain.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
And she was an Argentinian dude. Her name, dude. Okay, she had meat tattooed right here, like straight Vero, dude. Just like straight tough, dude. Like a tough woman. She was like, she didn't write the recipe down. It was all right here. Had a bunch of eggs and all that shit, and she was just like, just get in there. She just get in there and make it. But these burgers were like phenomenal. Like straight up. I wish it was me. Like I wish I was like, oh, I'm the person. No. It was the burgers. Like it was the quality of the meat that was so good. And we blew up in the sense of the restaurant had 64 seats. So like it was packed Thursday, Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah.
And we did really well. And PM made it so it was an art museum because Permanent Mark collected art. So you walk into the California Burger Bar and there's a freaking Harley hanging off the ceiling.
That's cool.
Legit Harley, like dripping oil, like legit, like straight up legit. And people would come in, they'd sit down, and we have like AC/DC rocking and just full rock and roll vibe. People would come in, sit down, and then they would get up and they'd look at all the art.
Oh, cool.
PM with freaking.
So it's almost like a Kuma's in Chicago type of thing. If you know what Kuma's
I don't
is.
know that, no, but it was like,
Okay.
I always kind of say it was equated to like a hard rock cafe, but without the corporate shit. Like
Gotcha.
it was dope. Like it was rad. We rock tunes and dude, it was awesome and did really well. And it was rad. But then that over there is where I got sober. And then
Interesting.
when I got sober, I started seeing things and I was like, wait, all my time and my efforts are going to this restaurant and my career that I love. Music is way over here on the shelf, getting dustier and dustier every day. Like I would play drums and I played like in an AC/DC tribute band that was dope. It was rad. And I played in a Black Sabbath tribute band over there. It was rad. These things were like to keep me like hot.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the push. It wasn't like my practice pad doing drills because it's 9:30 and my alarm just went off and I need to do drills for 10 minutes. Like that's where I'm at now. But back then it was like an afterthought. I was like,
All right, cool. Yeah.
And when I got there to the practice spot, it was go to the vending machine, get a 40 for $2.50 in the vending machine. It was dope.
It
Yeah.
was a vending machine.
Vending
that
machine with
sold
40s. It wasn't 40s. They were like the liters, whatever.
Later, bro. Yeah.
It was equivalent to the 40. I would go get my $2.50. I never left the crib without $2.50 even change. Get my 40, go rock drums. So I'm already putting in minimal effort because it's like I'm drinking beers. I'm not hating on people drinking beers at practice. Do it. Everyone's got their thing. But after a while, I started realizing I'm not doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm not doing much to do.
Yeah. It's inhibiting you.
Yeah.
When you're trying to practice, but you're not actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I just wouldn't practice.
You just put in the 250 and be like,
yeah, next
I'm here.
It was a place called Screaming, and it was a dope venue. It was like the big venue in Palma.
Yeah.
And dude, like Cannibal Corpse played there, like while I lived there. It was like that's the one place where the big bands would go on the island. So, dude, like I just partied. That was it. And we owned a bar that was here. We walked 50 steps, go up the stairs, and our house was right there. So everything I did was all around booze, like constantly.
So you were literally living the Motley Crue life. I keep saying it because obviously you have the tattoo, and I mean, yeah. But like you're living the rock star lifestyle without the rock star.
In Palma, which is probably one of the most expensive places to party in Spain.
It was,
I know,
so dope, and
I've been there a few times, and it's like,
dude, it's the best.
Did you ever go yachts? You ever do the yachts?
To go on yachts?
Did you?
No,
ever
I didn't actually
yachts?
go on any yachts, but most of our clients, a lot of our clients, if they were English speaking,
they were there because of the yachts.
Dude, they were there the whole, because I'm pretty sure it's the biggest.
It's one of the biggest summer ports.
Yachting ports,
yeah.
Or whatever it was, like the most yachts on it per capita or something like that. It's a lot of my friends that I made there they'd come in, live in Palma for 6 months, go off to sea, work for 6 months,
pick up a yacht gig. Yeah,
dude, it was crazy, and they just
like they worked on the yachts or they worked on the cruise ships.
The privatized yacht industry in Palma. It's Palma, Monaco,
like the below
Ibiza.
deck stupid shows.
Yeah,
exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
and dude, exactly.
Below deck's based in Palma.
Yeah, okay.
Dude, it honestly, where I lived, every apartment complex was full of yachties. We call them yachties.
Yeah,
they're yachties, and even when the boat is parked, they still have to work.
Oh yeah,
and they come and they just party, do this rage, dude. Oh, man, we raged hard. We raged hard, dude, because it was crazy. And dude, I'm like, we were the Americans. Like PM's tattooed from earlobe to toe, and he's got this English accent and he's dope, and he's also a world famous tattoo artist. So people were like, holy shit, that's a permanent mark, and then we would be at a bar and be like, and we were the American dudes with the American bar, like, oh, California burger bar, your burgers. That's what it was all about. So we like built this whole persona, and that's what it was. And I just partied.
Yeah. But you did it. That's the thing. You did it. You can speak from experience.
Yeah,
and that's the whole beautiful part about being a motivational speaker, is that you can inspire somebody else from something you've done. I wouldn't listen to somebody telling me not to drink if they've never drunk.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Like, I'd be like, what do you know?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of the same thing with like NA with Narcotics Anonymous.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people. I've actually seen like a few people that are like, these are the reasons why you shouldn't do it. I was like, well, can you speak from experience? And some people can, some people can't. I wouldn't be like, I'm not. Why would I listen to you?
Yeah.
But that's kind of like the authentic part about it, is that you're like, I've done this shit. This is it. Like, this is what, you know, like you said, maybe not, but these are the 4 choices why I regret what I previously did.
Yeah. And dude, what's up?
What tattoos do you have from Permanent Mark?
Dude, PM. PM. He did that one. Was it the Black Widow?
So you know who PM is?
I've heard, kind of. I've heard of him.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like, and right now he's not doing any more tattoos. I mean, he's a legend in the tattoo world, but he's really focusing on his like, I don't know, I literally don't know what it's called, but it's like he's like painting and doing graphic design, and not graphic design, excuse me, but like screen printing stuff. He's killing it, dude. We were just in the Netherlands in last year, and there was a picture. A PM, it's dope because he has like PXM. That's like his little logo at the end of his page. It's dope. But I have this one, and a bunch of us have it. And he did this in our kitchen.
It's a Black Widow.
It's a black. They call it the Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Yeah. So I always loved it. So PM's got it here, but smaller, and our good friend Shelby Cobra's got it there, but smaller. Right. And there's people you'll start noticing now. People will, and they're usually tattoo artists that have it. Like PM will tell the story way better than I will. Especially this was also drinking, and I don't quite remember all the details. Truth be told. Yeah. So this is just. Well, I'll tell you some more. So PM did that one, and then we bonded over this one. Like when I first met him, he did this tattoo for my mom.
Explain the audio listeners what you're showing off.
Okay, here. I'm showing you guys. Sorry, good call. I forgot.
You're all good.
Yeah. Podcast. Okay, so this is the Virgin Mary, and I had this idea where I wanted to give my mom like, this is the first visible tattoo I ever had. First off, too, and it's like my mom's name on it. So it was like a kind of like a jab, kind of a like, but mom, it's got your name on it.
Yeah,
you know,
but it's the Virgin Mary.
Yeah,
Okay.
You know, but yeah. So he did this one, and
so you turn your mother into a martyr type of thing.
Yeah, I guess so, dude. Oh man, but so my first band, my old band was called Red with Envy, and we signed this record deal with Sacred Art Tattoo, which is he called it Sacred Art Records, and part of the deal is we got half off on tattoos. So Shelby Cobra, my homie, is like, hey, I'm like, hey Shelby, who should I get tattooed by? Like he's like, dude, go to Permanent Mark. He's only in town for a little bit, and he's a legend. All right, PM, nice to meet you. Blah blah blah. We get tattooed, and he sat there and did this, and he did this like shading thing. I'm like, oh, what the fuck is going on? And he's like, oh, it's like a Japanese style. Like I can't talk like him anymore. I used to just nail his accent, but now I don't got it anymore. But yeah, so like he like did this tattoo. It was like a couple hour session, and that's where we became friends. And after that, we started buying each other drinks, and then he moved to Santa Barbara and opened. He opened a Golden Eagle Tattoo on State Street. So whenever we go to Santa Barbara, and it was like 2 doors down from the Velvet Jones, so I would go to Velvet Jones, play a show, and I'd be at PM, and we'd hang out and became friends. Yeah, you know. And then after that, after years, and like he was like, "Hey, mate, you want to fucking come help me open this bar?" Like that's kind of how it happened because I was working at the Velvet Jones at the time. He didn't do this tattoo. Our buddy Shelby Cobra did, but he drew it, and Shelby's got the same thing on the same spot. And it's like, you know, it's a tribute to Shelby, and it's a tribute to AC/DC, of course, but it's also a tribute. This is, for the listeners out there, this is a tattoo of Angus, and it says rocker, and it's got the Angus hat on. It's so dope, but PM drew it for Shelby. This tattoo, he calls me at the bar. He's like, mate, come upstairs. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm working. And this is like, actually, I'm doing like books. Yeah. And the next day I go on tour. Or the next day I'm going to the U.S. to meet the guys, practice a day, and then go on tour. And that was just kind of like how I did it back then. It was stupid of me. I don't know. But anyway, calls me upstairs, and I go upstairs, and he's like, let me see your hand. Grabs my arm, and he's got this piece of paper. He's got it all drawn out. He took this off his hand, drew it, right? Drew the thing, and then cut the piece of paper out and got alcohol. And literally, he's like, oh, fuck, told you, mate. Fit perfectly. He's a little bit too big, but it didn't matter.
Yeah. No,
it just didn't matter. He just did it. And he tattooed me right there in the kitchen. I'd say 30 minutes later, I was back to do in the books. It was just how it was. Because, dude, if people would come fly and see him.
Yeah.
They would come there to get tattoos. They'd come to Palma, which is paradise. Yeah. Hang out for 2 days, get tattooed, party with us, and they'd go. So that's kind of like how it goes. And then when he'd have a tattoo here out, he'd be like, "Make him upstairs." Or he'd like, "What?" Like, I'd be like, "Dude, you gonna tattoo that guy?" He's like, "I know you're next." Blah blah blah. And he did that one, and he did this like super pretty lady. You can't see it over here, but he did that, and he did. This is a classic. So he did this. He finger poked this.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and
it's like a heart.
It's a heart with. Dude, I know it was like a
mum.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
It's a what?
It's
mom. It's in English. You spell
mom,
within it.
Yeah. So he got he like had a pencil, taped a needle to it, straight up,
prison styled it,
old school.
Yeah.
And dude, he just at the bar on Saturday night after we closed, we're drinking beers. And dude, I think it was Bowie. We were like cranking Bowie. He like got me into Bowie. I had never even listened to Bowie very much. And he like
Bowie or Ziggy
like
Stardust?
David Bowie.
Oh, probably. I bet you at that point it was a mix of everything.
Okay.
But dude, we get wasted, party, and he just does this hand poke tattoo just so quick. So he's so pro, dude. Just like
that's the painful one though.
no, it didn't even hurt.
Really?
Well, I was also partying, so I can't really tell you the truth.
How are you just not bleeding everywhere? If
No,
you got
not bad,
booze in
dude.
you?
But then he's like, "Mate, did you notice I put the U for fucking instead of the O?" I was like, "Oh, I saw it in PM. It's all good." But yeah, I think that's all. I think that's it. Yeah, it's did like 4 or 5. You got one over here, yeah. But yeah, man, living with a tattoo artist,
cool.
So again, I commend you for making your decision. I do. But what takes you from doing this incredible time in your life? It sounds like, and just, I guess, stopping it, being like, "That's enough, man. I'm cool." Did you just wake up one day and be like hungover as fuck or something?
Was there a catalyst?
Had to be something.
Yeah, there's definitely like.
If you don't want to talk about it,
no, it's great. It's great. It's
okay.
all. It's guys. I just what I don't want to do is like convolute the story with like backstory, But it was, in short, my dad died in December 7th, 2015. Right. That reunited me with my friend Elena, who I went to high school with. Her and my dad had their own friendship, so she came back, and it was a sad moment, of course. We got reunited. Hey, let's not let this many years go by anymore. Like we made a pact. Let's stay in touch. Great. Year goes by. I just go party. I do my thing. Literally 2016 comes around. In Spain we rolled spliffs.
Yeah.
So for the listener, there's no
tobacco and
weed. Yeah, weed. So what happened was, I would smoke spliffs with PM all the time. Everything I did was smoking weed constantly.
I spent 23 years of my life in London. So I know.
So you get it. Yeah. So it was all about the spliff, dude. Yeah. And the weed wasn't that good there. It was it's just how it was.
Mix it.
Yeah. And it lasts longer, but anyway. So I smoked spliffs, but what happened was I would be partying, and because I was constantly smoking spliffs, my guard was down. So I would, "Hey man, can I get a cigarette?" And I would start smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
I found myself smoking cigarettes, and I had quit tobacco in like 2008. And I was like, dude, I'm not going to start smoking cigarettes again. So I left, came back, we did a tour. I told myself I would not go back to Spain smoking anything. So I took this giant bong rip from my buddy Chavez's house as my last one. And I took the train to my mom's house, and I just sat there for a few days. Went because I'd always give myself a buffer to give my mom like 2 days at her house, just kicking it.
Yeah.
With nothing to do. Mm-hmm. Hang out there. I've landed in Spain, and it's been like 4 days now since I've smoked any weed. That night I had this crazy, vivid dream where my dad called me, and he's like, "Hey, where the fuck you been, man?" I'm like, Dad, what are you talking about? Where you been? I've been trying to call you. He's like, "You ain't trying to call me." Like, this is the conversation that we would have had straight up. Yeah. Like, it was such a vivid dream. So vivid. And in my dream, I'm like, hey, I get up in my bed in Spain. I'm like, "Hey, Dad, let me call you back. I got bad reception." "Oh, all right, man. Call me back. Yeah. And then I go, I'm dreaming. So then I wake up to our accountant blowing my phone up. I'm like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Nicky, we're very late." Then I had this meeting or whatever I had to do. And
this is the dream or real life?
This is real life. So now I get woken up from a phone call from our accountant, and I fucking go down. I let her in, and I tell her about this dream. I'm like, "This is the most vivid dream I've ever had." So then I text Elena, like, "Hey, I should tell you, she's a medium, right? So that's what she does. So I tell her, like, "Dude, I had this dream, and my dad called me. He's like, I'm like, it was the most vivid dream I had ever had at the time. And she's like, well, Nick, you hadn't smoked weed for 4 days? I'm like, yeah, it's been about 4 days. She's like,
That's
well,
why.
She's like, what you did was you let the haze clear. You cleared the haze a little bit. And when he said he was trying to call you, he probably was trying to get a hold of you. Like, he was probably literally trying to get your attention, but then you stopped smoking weed, so you allowed for him to get there. My mind's like totally blown. Like, holy shit, are you telling me that? Well, no. Then she says, basically, she explains like, your dad's a powerful soul. It probably took him 8 months to a year, because it was literally almost a year, because that was like the day after Thanksgiving, or like called December 2nd. He had died December 7th the year before. Almost a year to date. She's like, well, yeah, it takes them a little time to get settled. And when they settled, then they'll reach out to you. Yeah. And she's like, your dad's got a strong soul. You're gonna hear him, you're gonna smell him, you're gonna dream about him for the rest of your life. I'm like, wait, you're telling me because I stopped smoking weed, this is what happened? I can have a relationship with my dad even after he has died? She's like, absolutely. So that was it. No more smoking weed. So that was how that went. And then, that was, early December. Basically, she texted me on the day after Christmas that same year.
So about 3 weeks later.
Yeah, about 3 weeks later, she had a dream. And my dad and my best friend, our best friend passed away when we were 19 from spinal meningitis. He passed away. So my dad and my best friend Kyle came to her medium in a dream and was like, yo, like Nick's dropping the ball in life. And in so many words, it was that Nick's drinking too much, but it wasn't my health. It wasn't about my health. It was about music, and how that when they showed her music, the way it runs through me sober versus when I'm partying. And she said it was like the Matrix, like a completely different flow. Like music flows to me naturally, but I was breaking the flow. I was stopping the flow of this music that came to me just naturally. And she was explaining all this stuff to me. And then she's like, also, they were talking about that you should be a mentor of some sorts.
That's cool.
Dude,
yeah.
It's
like mind blowing. Like,
dude, mind blowing. But the thing is I didn't open that message till January 18th. I'm weird. I'm sure you remember dates too, because you're an agent. Like,
yeah.
I remember dates. I remember getting home and we practiced for 2 days, and then January 18th that tour started. So I left that message probably for 3 weeks without even reading it. I open it and I read it on this day of tour. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, my mind has been blown. I text her back. I'm like, dude, oh my gosh, what does this mean? She's like, look, just when you get home, let's just talk about it. Got home. I had the buffer for my mom. And she lives in Grass Valley. My mom lives in Sac. I drove up there and we just hashed it out. She explained everything to me, and she's like, it doesn't mean you have to quit drinking. Maybe you need to play guitar more. Maybe you should have a guitar in your office. Because I would tell her, I'm like, well, I play guitar. She's like, well, how often do you play? I'm like, I guess I don't play that much.
Yeah.
And then I'm starting to see things. I'm like, oh shit, okay. And then I was like, should I tell my mom about this? Like, what do you think? And she's like, well, yeah, Nick, like your mom loves you. Tell her about it. So another day goes by. My mom, I don't say shit to my mom. I was like, I just want to sit there and enjoy my time with my mom.
Yeah. You don't want the interrogation.
I don't want her to trip out and be all freaked out. So she's giving me a ride to the airport. And that's when I'm like, hey, Mom, have I been acting different to you? No. Why do you ask? I'm like, well, I quit smoking weed like 3 months ago. And she's like, well, good, Nicholas, you just told me smoking weed anyway. I'm like, well, hold on. I tell her the story. I read the message. Or I tell her what Elena tells me. And she gets upset. And I'm like, look, Mom, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to send you the message, read the message, and then let me know what you think about it. A couple days go by. She doesn't text me or anything, and then she finally texts me back on WhatsApp. She says, one sentence, well, Nicholas, this message means nothing unless you do something about it. And that was it, dude. Like that, just like...
That's the catalyst.
That was it. No, and then I was like, fuck, okay. I want to be a musician. I want to play music. But it's the least of what I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This episode of SNB Podcast brought to you by Veeps. For artists, by artists, always commission free. For a full list of upcoming shows, visit veeps.com.
Cat clothing for all the cat lovers in us.
Visit catclothing.net for their full line of cat-inspired clothes.
Hoodies, shirts, tanks, shorts, and even fitness gear are now fully in stock for the fall and winter season.
Again, visit catclothing.net today. Check it out. Thanks, everybody.
Meow, meow. I quit weed, I want to say a year ago July.
Nice.
I want to say a year ago July. And before that, I started when I was 12.
Okay.
And I was living in London. I was living actually just outside of London in Surrey. And I went to international schools. I was around it a lot. And that's the thing. Everybody smokes spliffs. The weed in London's terrible. And so everybody like rolls it to like make it go further. And then, you know, I left international schools and did the whole English system, the A-level system and all that. And then I moved back here to the States and here in California, and it's like amazing compared to what it was.
You're in the Emerald Triangle. That's what
but I moved back when I moved from London back to New York. I was not smoking weed, and then I started again when I was in New York City. And my dad smoked. My dad to this day probably smokes more than I did.
Okay.
Still to this day, he's in his 70s.
Oh, I love it.
But then I moved to California, and then it became like a problem because I can go on weed maps and deal with the day. $50 ounce delivered to your door in 25 minutes.
They still have that today.
They
It's
do.
worse.
That was the thing.
Uber of weed now.
It became a problem because I was sitting there smoking like spliffs, and that's all I did. I never smoked it pure. I was never one of those guys. I would never smoke weed to get high. And this was kind of the thing that you try to explain that to a lot of Americans, is that a lot of Europeans have got a completely different mentality and way of actually smoking. They do it as a social thing, but they also do it as an element of like stabilization.
Yeah. I couldn't find a fucking bong when I was in the family.
Yeah,
Dude,
no.
where are the bongs at?
No one smokes bongs because it's too...
in Spain?
There was like a weed store, but it's not the same.
It's not a thing.
But you run up to Amsterdam, and that's all it is.
No. In Amsterdam, it's the same thing. You smoke spliffs. No one in Amsterdam is smoking a bong rip. There really aren't. The only people that are smoking bongs in Amsterdam are Americans. That's it.
True.
If you find a bong there, it's in a hostel somewhere, and somebody from Chicago's fucking yelling at the guy to come get it. But that was the thing, is that I would just smoke spliffs all day, every day, and I would smoke like 30 a day. And it was bad. And
that is bad. That's like 30 cigarettes a day.
Well,
What is that, 2 packs?
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It was. I was smoking an ounce and a half a week, and to the point where
Snoop does that in an hour and a half.
Yeah, well, I'm not Snoop. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, I was taking my girlfriend on holiday. Kind of like I had an artist that was playing Ultra Music Festival in Croatia, and the guys that own that side of the franchise and very good friends of mine, and that whole Croatian music scene, for some weird fucking reason, I became close with everybody in that big side of it. So I was like, hey babe, next week we're going to Croatia. She's like, okay, cool. So we fly out, we get back to London. My mom lives in London, fly over there, and she was like, are you going to bring weed? And I used to bring weed international because I've got 2 passports. So they never checked me.
Really?
They never check me.
They will now that he's on this show. But
yeah. Well, I don't smoke weed anymore, so check away. Like, knock yourself out. I mean, and I used to bring it with me. I used to be like, weed shit and fucking. In the UK, I'm going to take a bit and I'll put it into a tobacco pouch, wrap it up, straight through. And I get to Croatia and I'm like 4 days in, and then I start dreaming again. The dreams start coming back because if you smoke a lot of weed, like you're saying, like the receptors in your brain, they don't click.
So you stop dreaming.
Stop dreaming completely.
It's weird.
Yeah,
really.
You stop dreaming completely, and I hadn't had a dream in probably a decade. probably 10 years was the last time I actually had like a dream that I could remember. And I'm sitting there in Croatia, and I wake up in the middle of the fucking night like, where the fuck am I? What the fuck's going on? She's like, are you okay? I was like, I don't know. Like, and this is something that I will wholeheartedly say that a lot of people will deny this, but I personally think that weed is an addictive drug. It's a physically addictive drug.
Absolutely. You get used to the fucking habit of it. Absolutely.
It's the habit, but it's also, and this is the crazy shit. So I go, we spent a week out in Croatia, and now I'm like dreaming. We go back to London, and I'm sitting there, and I was like, yo, I want to take my girlfriend to this really nice restaurant. Like, it's our last night in London. She's never been to the UK. I got this crazy-ass seafood place. It's a French seafood restaurant right in the middle of Soho. Beautiful spot. Dinner's going to cost me a fortune, but fucking I don't care. And I'm sitting there in this dinner. I've been waiting for this thing for like a fucking week. I was like, where do I take her? And I'm sitting there in the middle of the dinner, and I'm like, yo, I'm going to throw up. And I'm like, what the fuck?
What? Why are you going to throw up?
Because when THC is going out of your bloodstream, if you don't, you have to like equal it out a little bit when you're stopping, when you're kicking
like on
cold.
A detox, like heroin. It feels the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
Really?
For me, it did.
Oh, I don't really remember how it went. For me, I was just like I couldn't sleep.
Yeah,
like my whole sleeping was all jacked.
It's
up.
fucked. Yeah,
I couldn't sleep for like.
Well, I never sleep anyway, so I'm like, 3-4 hours a night for me is normal. Like back then, but I'm sitting there in this French restaurant going like, yo, this dinner's gonna cost me like $600. I don't want to eat a fucking thing. And I'm like sitting there, she's looking at me, she's going like, you all right? I was like, I just threw up all over the toilet, like in the bathroom. Dude. And she was like, are you okay? I was like, no, I am not okay right now. Like I really think I'm gonna pass out. And she was like, oh, what do you need? I'll get some sugar in you. I was like, down to Red Bull. We get back to the hotel, and our flight's the next morning. And I am like profoundly dripping of sweat. Like I got a massive fever. And she goes to me, she was like, the room stinks of weed.
Sounds like you were dehydrated or something like that.
No. I was literally
sweating it out
of the sheets. And when I got up, the sheets were yellow.
Wow.
And this is the most crazy experience I've ever had in my life. The NH Hotel, right at Heathrow Airport. I roll over, and it's like resin.
Holy crap.
It was like, and I was like,
you've been smoking since you were 12, you said?
12, yeah.
I gotta look that up. That sounds interesting to me.
Yeah. Ask her.
No, I believe it. I believe it happened. I didn't think you could detox from weed.
Well, this is what I mean. Is like a lot of people are like, oh, it's not physically addictive. I'm like, I actually think that it depends on the person. There's not enough studies done on coming off of it. Mm-hmm. And, everybody's different. Everybody has a different chemical imbalance in their body. And for me, I can't remember the last day before that I did not smoke 20 joints in a day. And, I mean, we're talking decades. And I literally felt like my skin felt different. It was the weirdest shit ever. And seeing it on the bed.
That would trip me out.
Oh, no. I was like, and I haven't touched it since that day. And living here in California, people were like, people here in California, they get pissed off for smoking a cigarette. Like, no, you can smoke a joint, just no tobacco. And I'm like, I each their own. But like, I know, like I can actually speak from experience on that element of it, because I was full on addicted to it. Like there's no
addicted to I for sure was addicted to here's why I joke about it now. I say like, oh, I used to smoke a lot of weed. I smoke a bong rip for everything. So I would like, if I'm gonna go work out, bong rip.
Yeah.
Before I go, if you're going to band practice, bong rip.
Yeah.
Or dude, okay, it was about the preparation for band practice. You pack the pipe.
Yeah.
Put it in your pocket, go to band practice, and then you have a band practice. So you always have it. Did you have to learn how to like get hungry again?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I had to like
big time.
Wait. Oh, so
I put on a lot of weight because of it after that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
See, when I quit drinking, I got addicted to M&Ms. And I was like, I don't
even drink that much, and I'm addicted to M&Ms.
Dude, I just couldn't figure out why. I'm like, why do I need M&Ms, and someone, I can't remember who it was, like, dude, you just drank a bunch of booze for your whole life, and now you took all that sugar away from your life. I was like, oh, so I'm craving the sugar. Like, I need, like, because I don't have the booze. Yeah, great. But there's the whole other element of the booze, of the sugar, of like the beer and everything. It's all got sugar in it.
Yeah.
I couldn't even walk past the store. You know what we did on tour? Like, they used to make fun of me all the time because when caramel M&Ms came out, it was still about 6 to 8 months for me for being sober.
Yeah.
Dude, I couldn't go to a gas station without getting caramel M&Ms. I couldn't even, like, we couldn't stop to
They have them in Europe? They don't do that.
No, I don't know.
No,
I don't remember.
I think
But,
it's
dude,
only...
See, back then, I was still on the peanut M&Ms. But then I got home from that tour. I got home, and then caramel M&Ms had just come out. I was like, holy shit. What? These are the shit. Dude. Oh,
then I actually, like, that was the thing. Because I used to get the munchies, but I never used to put on the weight. And I really think that it's something to do with the blood. I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But I can tell you that after I quit smoking weed, I put on 50 pounds.
Really?
50
pounds. Damn, dude.
And like in a year.
It's like the opposite. Like you think you get the munchies and
you
shit.
would
But
think, and before that, like when I was heavily drinking, and then again, I'm getting older. You know, like there's other different things to it. But when I was heavily drinking in my early 20s, I could drink like a fucking fish and feel great.
Absolutely.
That's just everybody. It's just a different demographic of your muscles and
but it's
the amount of water in your system and stuff like that.
It's also like the social element of it behind it is like when you're growing up in Europe, the mentality of drinking is completely different to what it is here. Everybody here in the U.S. is like, it's 21 and everybody drinks, get fucked up.
Binge drink, party.
Yeah, it's a party. It's like they don't give you wine at 12.
Yeah.
And they're like, have a glass of wine at 12 years old with your family, and you learn learn it as part of a social element of it. And if you don't in certain parts of Europe, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
I've heard that.
You're not going to let your kid have a glass of Merlot?
Give him a drink. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean...
Dude, PM was telling me the way his dad introduced booze to him was like...
Cider?
Well, no, they basically what he did was they sat down at a bar and his dad ordered him a beer. He's like, 16 to 18 roughly. Have a beer. Cool. Have a beer. They have their beer. Have a cold beer. How you feel? All right, fine. Couple more, whatever. And he's like, okay, how you feel? He's like, I kind of feel fucked up. I'm kind of weird. And he's like, okay, now you know. How many beers was that? 3 or 4 beers? Okay, now you know. Don't be an idiot. Like, don't drink more than that. You don't need to drink more than that. And then he realized, like, okay. Because PM, like, we would party, but he would never get too crazy. Because he'd always he'd hit that point and be cool.
Yeah. It's a socially taught.
Yeah. And his dad's English.
Yeah.
That's just how it was. You know, I think he said, "Now don't be a wanker." So it was something. The way PM told the story, it was like genius. Like, dude, PM's also like the best storyteller. If you get a chance to meet Permanent Mark, just have him tell you any story. You'll be like, dude, I wish I felt that because he's such a good storyteller. Yeah. It's awesome.
Speaking of storytellers, have you started thinking about writing a book?
You know what's crazy, Trevor Swinson, dude? Like you're maybe like the third or fourth person in the last like 5 months that's like, dude, you should write a book.
You should.
It's crazy.
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know, because
again, you whiteboarded your entire existence. That's what you write about, or you have a ghostwriter write for you, and they like autobiography you. But like it's more of, if you can write the book, go write it.
That's a trip. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. You know what? It's the same reason why I tripped out when you hit me up about this podcast. It's the same reason why when Scott brought it up to me about me being a speaker, it's just like I think to myself like, what? Like, no one's gonna give a fuck about that. Like, but that's just like what I think. Like instantly, it's just that's my little tiny voice in my head that we all have.
Yeah.
That we do this activity and we call it tiny voices, and it's like 3 of us in the room like this, right? Mm-hmm. And like it'd be like you and you're in the middle and I'm behind, and the activity is, and this is like okay, so like I say all these bad things to you, you say all these good things, right? And we go minute of it, go. And then you go, and then you sit there, you take it, and you can like see you like you're like you feel it, like, and I'm like saying all these bad things, you're saying all these good things, and
like So he would say what's bad about you, and I would say what's good about you.
Here's the activity.
And we just destroy you with it, or what?
He would just sit in the middle.
Okay.
You would be the positive influence. I'd be the negative, and I would just go, and you would just go, and he would just take it. And at the end, we'd switch, and then we'd discuss it, and we'd talk about like how did it feel to be in the middle, and everyone hates it, and like, well, what'd you what'd you do? And then you would say something like, I just focused really hard on what Trevor was saying. And then everyone usually says like how much they hate being the bad voice because everyone hates it. And like, oh, it's so hard to say these mean things to someone.
I would love that.
But
Sorry,
no, I get it. But
he wants to be the bad guy. I know. He's like,
dude,
roast.
It's hard.
It's
It's hard, dude. But the whole activity of it is like, okay, we all have that tiny voice in our head that tells us we can't.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the whole idea is what we're trying to teach is that let's focus on the positive. And like, you know what? Block that negative out. Like, because we all have the potential to do great things. But usually what stops us from doing the great thing is this. Yeah. It's our heads, like our own head getting it.
I know.
And that's just me. I just said it. I just admitted it. I just did it again. I just like write a book. Like, what? Dude, I couldn't write a book. But it's like,
anybody can.
Yeah. I'm my own worst enemy in that very instance. And that's what I'm trying to speak on. Like that's the shit I want people to know. Like, yeah, you can write a book. You can do this. You can do anything. We all can do anything. Dude, look at this studio. You had an idea and you're like, I want to do this. And the people that make things happen are people that believe they can do it.
Yeah.
And you knew you could do it. You did it. And we're sitting in it as we speak. And like that's what I want to show everybody. Like, you can do this.
Yeah.
Dude, like Armed for Apocalypse, we had to start all over. Straight up, we're like starting over.
Yeah, but you're still doing it. Like obviously, you got the drive and all that stuff. So there you go.
There it is.
You
dude.
do it. You got the idea. Go for it. Keep
Go
going,
for it,
man.
There's no one, dude, because no one like I've been working on this like my why and all this shit. But it's like for me, it's maybe too simple. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I just think straight up that no one's off limits.
Yeah.
That's what I keep on saying. But it's like no one's off limits from any happiness, success, or abundance that they seek. That's what I keep on saying. Like that's like my whole paradigm is like there's no one's off limits. And I gotta remember that myself when I like dude, getting up this morning, my alarm went off at 3:05 in the freaking morning. And what's the first thing I had to do is just go get yoga in. And years ago as a drinker or smoker, I would be like, yeah, I'm gonna get up and do yoga. Yeah, right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get up and drink a shitload of water.
Dude, get up, dude. First thing I do is drink this whole thing of apple cider vinegar and water, and then it's like yoga. Do you know what I've been doing in the last 3 nights? It's like changed me.
What?
Is I'll meditate before I go to bed, and like the last thing I say is like, okay, I'm going to get up, and I'm gonna go running. I'm gonna get up, and I'll either run or do yoga, whatever I'm gonna do that day. I say that, and it's weird. I've beaten my alarm up these last 3 days. Like I'll get up, alarm will go off.
That's good.
And I'm like, bam, I'm going running or I'm doing yoga. This won't do 3:05. Like what?
Yeah.
But it felt so good.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm still like the natural high from that yoga practice.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
You feel it the whole day. The
all day, dude.
Fitness and all that stuff, and just having the aspect of being able to have a little bit of structure in your life. I mean, that right there is huge. And
Structure, dude.
I've been trying to get this guy to get back into it too, and just get him going.
Trying.
Yeah, it's just
impossible for me. It's not impossible for me, but at this point in time,
nothing is impossible.
No,
you
no,
make
no,
time for the things that are important.
No, 100%.
Hey, you know what? I started working at a place called Do Good in Portland, and it's a nonprofit for houseless vets, right? Mm-hmm. Or it used to be houseless vets. Now it's all houseless people. My managers, he was talking to me about, because I saw someone, I'm like, hey, this guy wants to sweep. He said, cool. And he's like, let him sweep. All right. And he's like, hey, purpose is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, oh shit.
So true.
All this person wants is some kind of purpose. Let him clean the whole fucking building. Let him do his thing. And it makes him feel good, and he's accomplishing something. And, ultimately it takes something off our plate. But ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, it's giving this person purpose.
Yeah.
Even if it's a small thing. It really resonated with me. Purpose is a powerful thing. I love that.
That's cool. That is actually really cool.
Very powerful, dude.
Agent Live 360, the world's first and only publicly offered CRM software designed specifically for sports agents.
AL360 is an incredible state-of-the-art software that does everything from keeping track of clients, professional, and college teams, to even company finances and client return on investment.
This system does it all. Visit agentlive360.com for full details.
Go check it out. I want to ask you a really quick question. We're not going to get political on this, but
it's all good.
What's going on in Portland?
Portland's kind of nuts, man. It's kind of
Like,
nuts.
what have you seen up there? Like, I think this is really important because everybody is seeing a mainstream media portrayal of what's going on, and no one knows the left from the right, from the center, from the front, from the back. Like, you don't know what you're watching on the TV. But from growing up, from being through it, from actually being
give us boots on the ground perspective.
Yeah,
that's what's happening.
I think that's really that's important for somebody to listening or just
fair enough.
Interested. It's not a political side at
it's
all.
Just reality.
It's just reality.
Yeah.
What do you see happening up there?
Well, I used to work downtown up until maybe like April. So right when things started cracking, the very first any protest, my store got looted, and it's on film. We were like watching it, like, holy shit, this is crazy, dude. And like, it got looted. People broke the glass, went in, did a shit, dude. It was crazy. Like, it was a trip. It blew my mind. So after that, the whole downtown area got boarded up, right? So everything got boarded up, but the looting stopped. It like stopped pretty much after. It was like the first Saturday or whatever of the protest. It was the first Saturday there was looting. And then it was like Monday night. And I say those two specific days because those are the days that our store got hit. So that's what I knew. I mean, it was crazy. It was like on our surveillance cameras. And we're like, whoa, this is crazy. Crazy. It was a trip, dude. It was a trip to actually watch it. Like 4 hours ago, I was in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a trip.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, the boards are still up. So it's kind of depressing,
Oh, yeah.
Because, but at the same time, it's not as crazy as you would think, because a lot of what happens is like in the very, not even the downtown area, it's like the government building ishi areas, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of the heat happens. When you see anything on like the world news, like they're in a centralized area. Where I live in Northeast. This is kind of weird, but I live 0.72 miles from MLK. I know that because my gym is 0.72 miles away from my house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because I'm on that street, there's maybe every 10, this is a rough estimate, every 10 days or so you'll hear helicopters that are monitoring the protest. Or I'll be driving home from practice, I have to cross MLK, and you can't cross because they're having a drive protest where like they drive and it's like everyone's honking, ding, ding, ding. Yeah. So BLM, it's cool. It's great. I get it. It's like, but it's like, holy shit, this is crazy. This is like, 4 months later, it's still happening. But now, as far as being on the ground, I can't really speak on that because I haven't gone to a protest, but my bass player goes. Him and his roommates, they go religiously. Not every day. They'll skip a couple of days. Like, he'll come and he'll tell us all the shit, and he'll be like, yeah, we're taking a break. We're taking like 4 days off.
We're taking a break.
And but they're like in it.
Yeah.
They're in it, and they're in it for the race, and it's great. And then like I have a couple of friends that will, they'll supply water. And I used to work for a place called Atlas Pizza, and we'd get an order for 25 pizzas to feed the protest, and then we'd stop taking all orders outside of the BLM orders, and we just bust them out. It's cool. Like, so that's like that's how I'm exposed to it. And then I remember someone asked me about if I was going to protest. I was like, no, I don't. I don't. But I also go to bed at 8 o'clock. Like, because I get up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not that I don't care. It's that I have.
You have your life.
I have an agenda, and I'm on it. And also, I'm in the service industry. I'm like, as an agent, like it's like, dude, these bands need these things that I need to provide for them. Yeah. I'm not staying out till 2 in the morning. But like, I guess what I'm getting at is like, I don't really get into it, but the way I personally like to contribute is through meditation and prayer.
That's good.
So like this is going to be kind of crazy. It's going to sound crazy, but this is my hippie side coming out. But like, so I have a part of my meditation every day where I focus on this element of the world. And what I mean is like the weather, the fires, BLM, and just anyone that's had any kind of negativity or a loss from police brutality of any sort, and then COVID.
Yeah.
And I can tell you truthfully, honestly, 100% of my soul, like when I get to that point in the meditation, I start to sweat. It's not every day, but for the most part, like I'll get like hot, like where it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna crack the window real quick. Because it's like I get my energy and like my love, and like, cause that's what I asked. I asked that my energy and my love are going to all these people, and I can feel it, and my palms get sweaty. It's like a thing. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it.
Yeah.
But that's what works for me. Some people might not agree. That's cool. Yeah. That's you protest. I'm gonna do it my own way. I'm praying for you, or I'm meditating for you, whatever you want to call it. Because people are out there every day. At my base, you know, there's people out there that haven't missed a day.
I know.
They're not going to miss a day.
They're not going to miss a day.
Yeah. It's a religious thing for them.
Dude, they're out there every single day.
The thing that I was always curious about was, because when I was watching all this, and especially in Portland with, I remember a friend of mine was like, they've taken over downtown, and like now it's a zone where no police will come in and no police will come out. I'm like, is that really the case, or was it? Well, I mean, like, I'm just curious. Like, was it the case, or was it more of just politicized from mainstream media? Or
he says he hasn't seen much of it. It's just tough for him to.
Well, I know, but there's definitely, being in the city, you hear things more from other people. It's like here in LA, you know a lot more of what's going on in LA from talking to people, even if you watch it on the TV. It's like,
I have a friend that's, I don't know, I forget what she calls it, but it's like a public observer. Is that what it's called? Where her job is to literally be at the protest, and she watches how the police conduct themselves.
Okay.
I think it's called a public observer or something like that. But she's been telling me stuff, and because she's like getting paid to document these behaviors and everything that's going on.
Who does she work for?
I don't know.
The government, or does she work for?
I don't know. I want to say
authority?
The public authority. I know I want to say it's a public.
Is it a utility?
I don't know, but it's something observer.
I mean, a public observer is essentially a policing unit. So,
well, she watches. What she does is she watches how the police interact with people. So
she's like AI type of thing?
I don't really know exactly.
IA, I mean, yeah.
I don't know exactly what it is. You know, to be 100% honest with you.
That's fine. Yeah.
But she observes, and she's been telling me about, like, okay, so going behind the police line, like, you never go behind the police line because they're so on edge that they'll kind of freak, and they'll like arrest you for coming behind them and stuff like that, you know. And like, she's just been telling me some of the crazy things that she's seen, and like, she said that one person walked by, and they're like, the way she said it is like, oh my gosh, they shot me, and I guess they had like a rubber bullet, and the guy's head was like legit bleeding. And this is Portland. This is crazy. You know, What was that? Is that an hour?
No, he got an email. He just it's funny because the entire time we've had this this Jim Carrey video up in the background that had gotten the screensaver. That's there's some crazy shit going on in Portland.
It's crazy, you know. There's a lot going on. I think there's a lot going on everywhere, and I think there's a lot of confusion. It seems like people are confused.
That's what I'm curious about. You know? Mainly the actual authenticity of the reporting.
I think that you're gonna see the highlights.
Yeah.
You know, like a Laker game highlight. You're not gonna see the perfectly executed bounce pass. Yeah. But you're gonna see the dope dunk. You know, it's like the world's getting these certain elements of Portland. It is real. I know that it's reality. Yeah. My bass player, dude, Charlie, goes like
it's still happening
all
today.
the time. Yeah, for sure, dude. They were out yesterday, like all day. It was a big ass like protest, counter protest.
Yeah,
it was crazy. Like Charlie was there all day, and I was like, I texted him like, "Yo, what's cracking, man? You all good? Like, what's up, man?" He's like, "We're good. It's all safe. Nothing bad's happened yet." And you know, I'm on my lunch break at the house of shelter, and I'm like, "Well, hey, dude, I'm watching this Newfound Glory freaking live stream. Here's a little clip of it." Because he's in the thick of it, and I'm like, I think my work's important. I'm like, I'm working for the houseless community in Portland. And what sucks is like, dude, the houseless community got hit so hard from the smoke.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah. And that's just another thing. It's like add another thing, COVID, fucking
fires.
protests, and then all the smoke and the fires, dude. It was like this shelter.
What
that
next?
I work at, yeah, seriously, what next?
A tornado comes through downtown Portland.
It's happening in freaking the East Coast. Like how many? Like it's like crazy, dude.
They got that like flesh-eating brain virus coming out now. That's in Texas. Did you see the article on that?
No.
Oh man, there's like this new.
Is this a real thing?
Yeah, 100% for real.
Oh
Here, I'll look it up while we're talking here. But
gosh, dude.
They while I'm asking, it's like, did you watch the NoFX live stream?
I did not watch the NoFX.
How do you have the tattoo and you don't watch that,
dude? Because I'm fucking. Literally, it's 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and like I get an hour break, and it's a little bit overwhelming because at first we started as an emergency shelter where I'm at, and then it went to like a temporary shelter. So now we're doing all this casework. So we're getting every single person like and helping. Basically, I got hired to be a caseworker.
Cool. Good on you, man. Like honestly, it's
thanks, man. It's work, dude. And like I'm working right now. I'm not taking it home because I'm still like, are you okay? Like, oh my gosh, like it's hard, dude. It's hard. It's hard.
I couch surfed for 6 months once. Later on in my life, actually, I tried to make some things happen, but circumstances didn't come through to fruition, and I was trying to transition to things, and I was like, fuck, I don't know where the hell I'm gonna live. And I did that, but I was lucky. I had friends that were like, hey, cool, but I didn't ever want to be that guy that could be like, yo, can I stay here for like a week or two? And like actually one guy that I owe everything to was actually kind of cool story. Like I met this guy at a bar at a Dickies concert through a friend of mine that I used to take out on tour for merch, and we just went out one night, went to a Dickies show at the Roxy here, and 2 weeks later situations arise and I don't have a place to live, and I was like, yo, can I come crash? He was like, yeah, you can come crash. How long do you want to stay? I was like, well, I don't really have any finances at the moment. I'm going through some other shit. And he's like, yeah, how long do you want to stay? You want to stay 2 months, 3 months? I was like, what?
That's dope.
The fuck are you talking? He was like, yeah, there's a futon at the other end of the living room. Like, make it your own.
That's so dope.
And honestly, like this guy, Stephen Michael, fucking great guy, still a close friend of mine, lives in LA, works for Warner Brothers. At the time, he was selling boots. When I got all back and everything, like his big thing is his Harley, and he barely can afford his fucking rent payments on his Harley. And when I got everything back, I bought him a whole new fucking like backside, because he was always like, I can only take one person on it. It doesn't have the seat for two people, but I always really want to take girls around on the back of my bike, but I can't fit them on the back of my bike. So I just surprised him.
That's
sorted
so
my life
dope,
out. Got him a
dude.
fucking seat. Like,
that's so rad.
You. He's still one of my best friends.
That's so dope, dude.
It's hard to meet people here in LA too. They're actually genuinely.
That's just so selfless. Like, yeah, come use it.
That's what I mean.
It's amazing, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like months.
So awesome,
months.
Man.
Put me up for about 3.5 months, and I actually was living at his house where I got the job that I'm doing now,
dude.
And because of him, I enabled me to like focus and sit down and like figure out what the fuck I wanted to do. But like I'm saying, like it must be hard for the people up there because you don't have a break. You've got COVID, you've got fires, you've got every other element where you can't actually sit down and be like, okay, what the hell? Like there's no. So all the power to you, man.
Thanks, man. I'm realizing that what a lot of this is some sort of mental illness that's not being
addressed
well. I don't really know how to, like, oh man, I get a little bit hard. This is kind of hard, but like yesterday I did an intake on a couple, and it's not even a couple. It's the dude's basically like her caregiver, right? And this woman has got so much trauma that it like broke my heart because he dropped a pen. We were sitting at a desk. And I'm filling out the paperwork for him, going through. And he dropped a pen, and she like jumped. And it like stopped me in my tracks. Like, how can a pin dropping 1 foot make her jump out of her skin? And
that's huge past history on that one.
It was just so hard. Like, then I realized, like, dude, fuck, she's in this general population. Like, we gotta get her out of here. It was crazy, dude. It was hard. It's just I just didn't realize what she goes through on a daily basis.
The anxiety of
every sound is freaking her out, and she couldn't pull together a sentence. And he basically worked as her translator, and he's like, yeah, it's gotten progressively worse, But he met her, and dude, talk about good on him, right? He met her at another shelter, and just kind of became friends with her. They didn't even have a prior history, and now he's just at her side and takes care of her. Everything, not romantic at all. Just like it's like, dude. And then because I didn't really realize it until yesterday. I'm like doing both the paperwork at the same time. Then I was like, wait, you're amazing, dude. Yeah, you're amazing. It's amazing of you. It was crazy. It's hard for me. Like, I'm still not like, I haven't built the tolerance yet to like.
Gotta get that skin on you, man.
Yeah, man. It's hard.
Well, you don't want to have that skin, to be honest.
Everyone wants to have that skin.
I know. It's because it's an emotional thing what you're doing. It's fucking hard.
A lot of people are in pain, man. But then
that's also a sense of something that we haven't really brought up on this a lot is, like you're saying, like a mental disorder. It's something that isn't diagnosed, which can be treated. Well, can be treated with work.
And they have they have to want to do the work.
Yeah,
which I'm also learning too. Is like
a lot of them don't want it to work.
A lot of people
just want to be homeless,
dude. And you know what? Some people have built lives to themselves in this way, and I get it. Like, I'm learning, man. I'm still like every day I'm like, what's going on? Like, it's still like so crazy for me. But some people don't want it. Some people are like, I'm cool. I'm just gonna. This is comfortable.
This is it.
Yeah. Like, dude, there's people right now that have beds in the shelter that sleep outside.
Yeah.
They keep their shit. They keep their stuff in the house or in the shelter. But they'll sleep out there.
Sleep out there.
But that's just what they're used to. They've been homeless for 20, 30 years, and that's just what they
comfortable.
Do.
Yeah. It's a trip though, because I will, a part of the job is keeping the bathrooms clean and stuff, and
I mean,
I'll find those little orange tips, for the needles. I'm like, dude, what is going on? Like, what don't I know? Like, how much don't I know? And there's a lot.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Good on you, man.
It's work, but I want to I want my work to be in service, and I feel that it's like, I don't think I got offered this job on accident. Mm-hmm. I don't think I met Scott to get me into the speaking space on accident. Like, after the first time I spoke, I realized, okay, I get it. The bigger my career gets, the more I can serve. So the better I can, literally, that's what it is. The more my career gets to the point where I'm doing bigger things, where someday someone's going to be like, oh, dude, you're in that band, versus like, he plays in a band, he does all this, before they have to build it all up. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I am now realizing my life focus and work is service. And my tools are the way I live my life and being a role model, but then also I have the gift of music. And I can give people the gift of music in my own way, or you know what, dude, like you do, or I can help someone else get to their dreams. Yeah. Being an agent, or even sometimes like being a tour manager, and like being like my business is, like tour services. So like a band comes over from UK, I can get their merch done. I'll get the van, I'll drive, or I'll get them a driver. All these things, it's all service.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. That's what makes, dude, at the end of the day and at the end of the tour, when they're like, okay, here's a quick compliment. The band Conjure from the UK. Mm-hmm.
I know.
They're great. They're like my best friends, dude. They're the great band, dude.
It's from Brighton, right?
They're from, oh man. They're going to get mad at me. It's right by Birmingham. It's
Solihull?
Oh, they're going to get mad at me. Oh my gosh. It's a small town. It's like small town under
Aston?
Right. It's right next to Coventry.
Coventry.
Yeah,
okay.
So right by Rugby.
Yeah.
Dude, so I met them. So I had already done one tour with them. They did the Rivers Nile tour, and I did that whole 6 weeks with them. Like, and then last year I did another tour where I couldn't get there until after our tour. So we finished in like Minnesota or something like that. And then I had to drive to meet them in Detroit. As soon as I got there, it was great. Met it was all good. And they had gotten the van. They drove themselves for like 3 days. Literally, like I started driving. Like I looked back and all of them were asleep. I was just like, that's dope. Because as soon as I got there, they like put their guard down.
Yeah.
Like to me, that was like the biggest compliment
Yeah.
I had ever gotten because
They trust you.
they're so comfortable. As soon as I was behind the wheel, they're like, yeah, great. What's up? Oh, dude, they're all asleep. And I was like, dude, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. That made me feel really good. Like they're all so comfortable now. They can just finally relax.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it feels good.
Well, I think that's.
I just want to know who's your
go for
favorite
it.
drummer?
Favorite drummer, Dave Grohl is my idol. Made it as a drummer, made it as a guitarist, great songwriter, but his style, like I rip him off.
You do rip them off.
I rip him off.
just thought of that. Like,
yeah.
that Smells Like Teen Spirit is
Dude,
exactly how you drum.
Mashing. Because that's when I was like a little kid or like 15. I was like, that's what I want to do. Like, holy crap, he's just mashing.
Did you see what he released with the Foo Fighters the other day about that kid drummer?
And she's
Nina?
dope, dude. Yeah, she's
Nina?
The challenge thing, right?
Yeah, dude.
And he wrote her a song the other day.
Oh, he wrote her a song, dude.
He wrote her a song about her. And
So
then
dope.
did the video. Oh, the things you got to check it out. Like people out there, like you got to just—it's on the Foo Fighters front page.
Really, I love it, dude.
And I
And
thought-
see, dude,
Yeah.
oh man, I love how. See, that's what I like. He's like a good dude. My friend tattooed him in Santa Barbara, and he's like, dude, he's like a totally normal, nice dude. I'm like, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
You never hear Lemmy's quote about him?
No,
They're
what?
like, what? That before Lemmy died, they asked him who's the one person he'd like to hang out with, and he goes, "I'd hang out with Dave Grohl. He's probably one of the better humans I've ever met."
That's dope.
And that's literally like the only person he said.
That's so dope,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. No. When Dave did this whole thing, he borrowed his daughter's drum kit
That's so dope.
to record this, and I was like, and it's basically like he wrote her a Foo Fighter song
I love it, dude.
with all the lyrics about her.
That's
Honestly,
so dope.
I'm gonna watch this after that.
I want to watch it. Dude.
I gotta
That's
show
so
this to
dope,
you.
Dude. That's so
Yeah.
dope. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Dave Grohl, I'd say, is top of the list. Tommy Lee, Abe Cunningham from the Deftones. I'm dropping a lot of backbeat drummers.
Have you heard Thomas Pridgen?
Dude, wait, is it the guy from Prince?
Mars Volta.
Oh, dude, he crushes. But I never really got. I'm probably gonna hate it on this, but I never really got tuned into Mars Volta. It was like too much for me. I didn't really get it.
But at the
So-
drive-in.
Yeah, the driving was great. That dude, I couldn't get enough of that.
The crazy thing about Thomas is I was tour managing an artist once, and he got hired to be the session drummer, and he shows up, and I'm like, "Yo, where are your hi-hats?" And he's like, "They're right there," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" He takes 2 crash cymbals, and his hi-hats are these 2 crash cymbals that he's turned upside down,
Really?
and it's like the craziest it's fucking loud, and
I love it.
mean like intense. You watch him play, and it's like mind blowing. He's also one of the coolest, most in tune dudes. He lives in San Francisco, Oakland. He lives in Oakland.
That's great, dude. I love hearing that. I love hearing these like great players that are just super cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
great guy, great outlook too. Like he's traveled, like he's been all around the world. I think the last time I heard he was playing for Social D. No, Suicidal Tendencies.
That's
He was
dope.
playing in the
That's cool, dude. That to me is dope.
He was doing a bunch of stuff. He played with. He recorded the Trash Talk album.
Really?
Yeah,
Dude, Trash Talk's a band
Thomas
that,
Pridgen.
dude, that guy, see, like that band right there is like, they're all DIY. Like
Yeah.
they got their own little thing. They got their merch. They got their skates. And I was like, dude, I
yeah.
love these guys.
Yeah.
It's like,
I toured with those guys twice.
really?
Twice, yeah. One of the tours was fucking a shit show. Like it was just routed all around. It's like Paris, Milan, Berlin, Madrid. It was like,
It's wherever they had an open date. Let's just land there.
Oh, man.
oh, it was like 16-hour drive, 16-hour drive, 16-hour drive. I was
Misery,
like,
dude.
oh, it was horrible. And I was driving and doing front of house.
Oh, man. Dude,
I was like,
misery,
when can I sleep?
Oh, man.
In the summer in Europe.
Brutal, dude.
Yeah, but
Dude.
so do you have anything you want to plug before we go?
Yeah. Give it up. Man.
Anything I want to plug? Well, I'll tell you this much. Armed for Apocalypse is recording with Kurt Ballou October 18th through the 27th. I'm extremely excited about that. We have like 16 songs written. We sent him demos, so I don't know what he's going to, I don't really know how the process is going to go. I'm guessing we'll probably record 12 or 14 of them. Very excited about that. Very excited for that opportunity. We met Kurt Ballou in Boston last year. We actually toured with Mongol Horde, which is Frank Turner's like hardcore band, and they're all good friends. And it was cool. He's like, they actually watched us play like 4 songs. It was pretty because my singer Nate and Charlie, our bass player, their favorite bands converge. Okay, so the fact that we're actually recording with them with Kurt Ballou is just huge. And like, it's not my favorite band, but their energy and their excitement, it's got me like so pumped. And dude, listen to a Kurt Ballou record. They all sound so amazing. I can't wait to hear my drums through that spectrum. I just can't wait for that. I've developed, not me, Ink Refuge, and they developed my website, nickwharris.com. We haven't released it yet. There's a couple of things we're just tweaking, like verbiage and stuff on the site. But I mean, we're going to do a launch for it and everything. And that's my service website. And that's like how I would get booked, for a speaking gig and stuff like that, And it's got a bunch about, my rugby history, and it's got a bunch about touring and my music stuff, but then also how I want to serve through music and my lifestyle. And so, yeah, those are my 2 things I want to plug.
Sick.
That's awesome, man.
Ultimately, I want to make the world a better place.
That's great.
Dude, just being myself.
It sounds like you're doing it.
Yeah, man.
I'm working on it.
Really?
Thank
Keep
you.
at it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it's been fun having you, man. It's honestly, it's been inspiring, that's for sure.
Thanks, dude. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I feel like I have never met you before. I feel like I've known you forever.
I know, right?
Awesome.
There's a lot in common.
And Swinson, I'm not gonna lie, dude. You inspire me, dude.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, dude. It's great.
We try.
That's great.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, you guys, for having me.
Thanks, man. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys later.
Later.
Take care.